CNN gets brutally trolled last night after the lone Republican outwits this far-left panel arguing why Elon Musk can't buy MSNBC, only to find out their facts are wrong. Even the anchor is stunned to learn everything she's arguing about Elon turns out to be wrong. Also, we look at Kash Patel, new reporting just dropping this morning for who will lead the FBI, and major news hitting Democrats this morning as the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, announces they are laying off most of their staffers across the country after the Harris campaign left her party with tens of millions of dollars in debt. And wait till you hear how they're trying to get out of this. The utter corruption of the DNC has now been laid out bare naked for the world to see, and more stories from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. Really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. In another story, CNN was brutally trolled last night after one of their far-left panels were ganging up on Elon Musk, something they do daily now. Elon's become the new George Soros of the right to these people, but there's a big difference between Elon Musk and George Soros. Everything Elon has done has been out in public for the world to see. George Soros works from the shadows. And the most ironic thing about it, when you really take a step back and listen to their words, listen to what these people say about him, their attack is that he's allowing too much free speech. He's not censoring enough. Ergo, you have the media organizations, the Fourth Estate, the institution who's supposed to defend the First Amendment, attacking him for not restricting it. It's incredible. In fact, the entire clip from last night, which I'll play in a minute, is incredible. Here's the thing, though. It's not just about censorship on X. Simultaneously, he's crushing legacy media in its wake. It's like a double whammy. The majority of the press want restrictions on speech. Elon stopped that from happening. But him also proclaiming that you are the new media, everyday Americans, the individual reporting what you see and what you read and notice. It could all be local. Any individual person can do this. Local independent journalism is the new media. That is what's really driving these people mad. And you could see how upset they are by it. Watch as the CEO of Axios last weekend, a few days ago, loses his mind over this. Roll the tape.
Everything we do is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media, you are the media. My message to Elon Musk is, bullshit. You're not the media. You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter. You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that by having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody. Whoa. First of all.
So the topic being discussed on CNN last night was Elon buying MSNBC. Their panel stuffed with these far-left commentators saying he can't buy it. First, he doesn't like being regulated. That was their first argument. And he wouldn't dare buy the network because he'd have to deal with the FCC, which is false. Cable TV isn't even regulated the way broadcast channels are. Then when Scott Jennings, the only contrarian voice on the panel, explains why Elon buying MSNBC would be a good thing, that he'd likely bring balance to the network the same way he did with X, pointing out this new survey that just dropped that showed X is now the most balanced social media site on the internet. Well, the panel jumps down his throat. Even the anchor jumps in to ask, where are you getting these facts from? Well, the answer Scott Jennings gave was a mic drop moment. Watch this.
Also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Scott, stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes.
You cannot continue to say that.
You cannot say that. That's not the case. Who's the source of that?
What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
Scott,
but my point is
can I reframe it a different way? Because the site changed radically, right? So whether you think the voices it is somehow more balanced now, that's fine. But no doubt Musk's influence is profound, and that you open it up and now you're there with his opinion, and he is now part of this administration.
So the reason, one of the big reasons he bought Twitter/X is because he wanted to make it his own platform, remake it in his own image. And I think this really gets at it. Look at this. The party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better. And more than that, John, look at where Mr. Musk's net worth is today versus where it was just 2 months ago. He is the richest man in the world by far. 2 months ago, look at this. His net worth was $252 billion. Look at where we are today, $314 billion. He is by far the richest man ever to be on this planet.
For the record, isn't it amazing how things have turned out like this, how we've come almost full circle? I pointed this out on X the other day. If you're not already following me there, I recommend you do. 2 years ago, Elon buys Twitter for $44 billion. The corrupt media tells us he's going bankrupt. He likely can't survive this, and Twitter is on the verge of collapse. 2 years later, MSNBC's literally about to collapse and Elon's considering buying it. You can't make this up. In another story, the DNC this morning announces it has laid off almost 2/3 of their staff across the country. Thousands of DNC employees are now out of a job this morning without any notice. This comes after the Kamala Harris campaign raised over $1 billion, $1 billion with a B. Where'd the money go? How did they spend all of that money? Well, they didn't just spend all of that money. They spent tens of millions on top of that, raising over $1 billion and spending $1.37 billion. This will go down as the worst ran presidential campaign in American history, spending $580 million on campaign staff. In comparison, Trump only spent $10 million on campaign staff, $580 million to $10 million. And big Dem donors are now furious. Here's one of Harris's top fundraisers. The person, by the way, who met with these uber wealthy liberal donors. Watch her freaking out about this. Roll the tape.
This is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled.
And it gets worse for Democrats because the DNC isn't just laying off the majority of their staffers all around the country, but they've been exposed as corrupt. Everyone sees it. You were asking America to vote for Kamala to fix inflation, fix the economy, fix the national debt, while she was running her campaign and her party into the ground. Last night, Democrat mega donor John Morgan went on News Nation declaring Kamala Harris's political career is effectively over, saying if you can't run a campaign, you can't run a country. Watch.
The name is Morgan, and he has raised a lot of money for Democrats. Happy Thanksgiving, big brother. Thank you very much for coming on this show and helping my audience.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
So, John, I never heard anything like this before. Do you think somebody stole the money?
Well, maybe legally. I mean, look, to me, you remember the movie Mad Max when everybody's just doing whatever they wanted into the world? That's what happened here. All of a sudden, everybody's got the keys to the candy store. Ad buyers, talent, consultants. There's 100 days to do it. And the money started pouring in. Remember this, Chris. It wasn't pouring in for Harris. It was pouring in against Trump. Everybody that was voting and supporting Harris was really voting against Trump. And everybody that was voting for Trump was voting for Trump. So she had all this money coming in. She had all these consultants. And if you don't run the ads, you don't get paid for the buy. They were running ads in Florida where I live nonstop. And I'm like, why? I mean, are they running them in Alabama and Idaho too? And I'll tell you why. If you don't run the ads, the buyer doesn't get paid. $900,000 to put her face on the Sphere in Las Vegas. In the Sphere, the ego, the crazy, the commissions. I was at the White House for a dinner Friday night, talking to a lot of people, and I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of whispering. There's a lot of names about who got paid this, who got paid that, and a lot of people got rich on the back of donors trying to stop Trump. And I think this disqualifies her forever. If you can't run a campaign, you can't run America. And that would be the argument just day one.
And to top it off, the DNC is now asking voters, asking you to donate money to fix their screw-up. The DNC opening a GoFundMe account to pay all of these staffers that they're laying off. Look at this. Here's the page from the official Democrat National Committee account to support the DNC Staff Union Layoff Relief Fund. Who in their right mind would give these people more of their hard-earned money? It's crazy to me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you were a Democrat, would you donate to this fund? Who the hell are these people that donated this $16,000 so far? I'm honestly baffled by this.
The DNC union people didn't see layoffs coming where they were going to get 1 day's notice?
Doesn't sound like it, no. And they are about $16,000 of a $25,000 goal. It doesn't seem like they're that people who donated a lot of money for months, even just $10, $15 at a time on those recurring payments that you get the text messages about constantly in an election season, it doesn't seem like there's much of an appetite for people to open their wallets again for that, or for the Harris campaign that now needs Tim Walz to go out and ask for help.
You know, how many people were fired? I know it was 2/3. Do we know the exact number? Because I feel like $25,000 to help people pay their rents and their bills is not that much if it's hundreds of people.
If you've got to split it.
They're saying that the $25,000 is temporary because they still think they're going to be able to get some kind of money out of the DNC or some kind of unemployment assistance. And so it's temporary. They had a protest at Union Station yesterday. It was pretty small.
All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.